This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, Heather Ho, there's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe Birthday Boy. And today's Birthday Boy, as we start the month of December and the final month of Sports Catastrophes. New era. Well, new videos. Era after a 4-year thing. Is this guy. He is one of the greatest golf players ever. Inducted to the World Golf Hall of Fame in 1981. He won 6 majors and 29 PGA Tour events over the course of his career. He is one of only 4 players to win the US Open, British Open, and PGA Championship multiple times. He never won the Masters. Other than that, he did pretty well. He's an icon for Mexican Americans, known as the Merry Mex and Super Mex. Affectionate nicknames, not really racist, thank goodness. But anyway, his name is Lee Trevino, who is now 85 years old. He was born in Garland, Texas, December 1st, 1939, into a family of Mexican ancestry. He was raised by his mother and his grandfather. He never knew his father. He started working in the cotton fields when he was 5. Anyway, he was introduced to golf when his uncle gave him a few golf balls and an old golf club. He was sneaking into nearby country clubs to practice and was a caddy near his home. He left school at 14 to go to work being caddy full time. He earned $30 a week as a caddy and a shoe shiner. He was also able to practice golf since caddies had 3 short holes behind their shack. After work, he would hit 300 balls. And actually, many of these shots were struck from the bare ground with very little grass, and often in very windy conditions. It is this that is widely believed to be the reason why Trevino had his distinct, unique, and compact swing, which would develop with tremendous effect. Anyway, when he was 17 in 1956, he enlisted in the Marine Corps and was a machine gunner. He would be a corporal in the 3rd Marine Division. He would actually play in armed forces golf events in Asia, where one of his rivals was Orville Moody, who also was a PGA golfer in the 60s. After Trevino was discharged from the Marines, he was a club pro in El Paso. He made extra money for gambling for stakes and head-to-head matches. He made the cut in the 1966 US Open, his first tournament, a first major, and tied for 54th. He qualified again in 1967 and shot 8 strokes behind Jack Nicklaus. He would finish 5th, which made him have tour privileges for the rest of the 1967 season. So, anyway, he would be allowed to compete in the US Open in 1968 after winning a top 5 spot. So, anyway, in his second year on the circuit, Trevino actually won the US Open at Oak Hill, 4 strokes ahead of Jack Nicklaus, which was a shocker. He would score 69, 68, 69, 69. That's all the strokes. It was the first time that a US Open had a player get all 4 rounds under 70. During his career, Trevino would win 29 times on the PGA Tour, including 6 majors. He was at his best in the 70s, early 70s, when Jack Nicklaus and him would compete time and time again. He actually had a fantastic 3-week span in 1971. In the US Open playoff against Nicklaus in 71, he actually beat Nicklaus in a playoff. I believe that was the famous playoff in which Trevino had a rubber snake and playfully threw it at Nicklaus. I believe that was the one. Anyway, 2 weeks later, he won the Canadian Open, back when the Canadian Open was before the British Open. Well, in the 90s and 2000s, it would always be in September. I know that. And the following week, he won the British Open Championship, becoming the first player to win those 3 titles in the same year. So he was the US Open champion, the Canadian Open champion, and the British Open champion. Only Tiger Woods would match that mark. Anyway, Trevino was given the Hickok Belt as the top professional athlete of 1971 and won Sportsman of the Year by Sports Illustrated. And then in 1972 at Muirfield, he became the first player to successfully defend the British Open Championship since Arnold Palmer in 1962. He had a remarkable third round at Muirfield, putting up 5 birdies to end his round. So anyway, Tony Jacklin looked like he was going to have a good chance. But unfortunately, somehow he was shaken and 3-putted the 18th hole. Trevino would par, meaning that he beat Jack Nicklaus by a stroke and Tony Jacklin for third. Jack Nicklaus actually had a chance to win the Grand Slam of golf. He won the Masters in the U.S. Open in 1972, but fell short. Trevino won the New Orleans Open without scoring any bogeys. It was the only time it happened at a PGA Tour event until JT Poston did that in 2019. I did not know that. Anyway, he won the 74 PGA Championship, which was his 5th major title, beating Nicklaus again. Which was funny because 4 of Trevino's 6 majors were won over Jack Nicklaus, who was runner-up. Trevino actually was struck by lightning at a golf tournament near Chicago in 1975 and suffered injuries to his spine. He would have a damaged spinal disc, but back problems continued to hamper his play. Nevertheless, he was second in the world golf rankings as late as 1980 behind Tom Watson. He would actually win 3 PGA Tour matches, Trevino would, and would be runner-up in the 1980 British Open to Tom Watson. He won his 6th and final major at the age of 44 in 1984 with a 15 under par score, winning the PGA of 84. And actually became the first player to shoot his 4 rounds under 70 in the PGA Championship, much like he did for the U.S. Open. He almost won the PGA Championship in 1985. He was runner-up, trying to become the first guy to retain his PGA Championship since Danny Shute, and that was way back in 1937. Trevino was amazing all that. Between 1968 and 1981, he won at least 1 PGA Championship for 14 years and all that. He was part of the senior PGA Tour, and it made them an early success, winning 29 of those titles and all that. But yeah, he made the PGA Senior Tour look good. So anyway, he was actually a color analyst for NBC for the PGA Tour, which is pretty decent and all that. Anyway. So anyway, the one major that eluded him was the Masters. And he actually led the field in the first round after a 500 par 67 to start the 89 Masters. And it looked like he might have done it and all that. Trevino had troubles and all that. He didn't want to play at the Masters. It's just not my type of course. Trevino said he was uncomfortable with the atmosphere and that he disliked the course because of his style of play, where he liked to fade low shots left to right, was not suited to the course. Trevino would famously not accept invitations to a few Masters, and in 72, he didn't want to use the locker room facilities in the clubhouse, so he would store his shoes and other items in the trunk of his car. But he later described this boycott of the Masters being a great mistake I've made in my career. Trevino would end up finishing 18th in that 1989 Masters. His career best result for the Masters was a tie for 10th. Nevertheless, so yeah, he was the first player to shoot all 4 regulation rounds under par at the U.S. Open and the PGA. And all that. Winning the 3 oldest events, which were the Canadian Open, the British Open, and the U.S. Open. And as I said, Tiger was the other guy to do this. He put in the Ryder Cup, which is the big golf team event between the U.S. and Europe, doing it 6 times, and was pretty good. He had a 667 winning record percentage. He won the Farden Trophy for lowest scoring average 5 times. 70, 71, 72, 74, and 1980. And was legend and all that. Yeah, his humor was huge and all that. He was known for his humor. He said that at the beginning of the 1971 U.S. Open playoff against Nicklaus, he threw a rubber snake as a joke at Nicklaus. So, anyway, Nicklaus had a hearty laugh, but Trevino beat Nicklaus by 3 strokes. Tony Jacklin once said, "Lee, I don't want to talk today." And Trevino retorted, "I don't want you to talk. I just want you to listen." He actually made a cameo appearance in Happy Gilmore, appearing in Silverstein's when he was a witness to Happy's anger outburst, always shaking his head in shocked disapproval. His only spoken line is when Shooter McGavin says to Happy in sarcasm, "Yeah, right, and Grizzly Adams had a beard." To which Trevino appears and says to McGavin, "Grizzly Adams did have a beard." "Yeah, right, and Grizzly Adams had a beard." Grizzly Adams did have a beard. He did. So anyway, yeah, he won 29 PGA Tour championships, including 3 Canadian Opens, 1971, 1977, and 1979. Loving it. Of course, his 6 majors, winning the British Open twice, the U.S. Open twice, and the PGA twice. It was amazing what could happen and all of that. And oh yes, of course, I gotta put some pop culture into it. Other than Happy Gilmore, there was a Simpsons episode called "Marge Be Not Proud" when Bart wants Bone Storm, a very violent video game, and is jealous of people, and actually is coerced by Jimbo and his gang to steal it, but he gets caught by the security cameras. Marge buys him a game for Christmas, but it's not Bone Storm. It's Lee Trevino's putting challenge. Of course, it's literally failed. It's Lee Trevino and his putting challenge, and Bart doesn't take the game seriously. So that's all I have to say. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond.